What's up, everyone? I'm going to take a look at the Mavericks' attempts to play faster, how it's benefited them. And, I figured there's no better time to do it than after their win against the Wizards. They scored 39 points in transition, and that was actually the most they've had on the season so far in a single game. And a particular part of that I found interesting, there was a few things pertaining to Luka Doncic. He scored 9 points out of transition. That was the highest out of any of his performances this season. But also beyond that, it was one of the rare times that was his most scoring play type. He didn't score any more points out of pick and roll, out of ISO, anything like that. He got a lot of his points in different ways, and transition was actually the most frequent way he did. And that was all in addition to him making spray ahead passes and, just impressive reads, whether they directly resulted in an assist or just a general quality look for the unit as a whole. So I want to get into that, especially without Kyrie Irving in the lineup to help juice the overall, effectiveness of the offense playing at that tempo. It was intriguing to see Luka lead that sort of push, and, I'm going to get into it now. There will be plenty of times for Luka to just push the pace and get to the rim himself, or at least draw a foul along the way. And against the Wizards, the smaller guard, Jordan Poole's trying to stop the ball, and that's just a green light for Luka to, put his head down, draw contact, lowering the shoulder, and just put up a shot attempt and get to the line. And he does that here and gets the and one by executing the floater. There are instances when Luka's getting the ball after a missed shot or a turnover, and he's just quickly on the catch, recognizing where the ball needs to get to. On this play, Grant Williams is wide open, getting up the court, and Luka darts him the ball. And Grant Williams ends up, drawing Kyle Kuzma enough, who has to stop the ball and account for Tim Hardaway Jr. in the corner. There's no extra defender in a position to be able to take the ball quickly enough. So in this situation, Williams, with the threat of his potential shot, looks like he's going to pull up and makes the right pass to Tim Hardaway in the corner. And this is a very quality look for the Mavs, and it continues the momentum that they'd established at this point of the game. A big part of playing faster is having players that quickly have their focus flipped to the next play and aren't focused on either celebrating or, I guess you could say, moping based off results. And in this instance, Derek Lively makes a great contest against a floater. And instead of, being content with getting a defensive stop and just leaving it at that, what he does is watch the comparison of how he gets up the floor versus Daniel Gafford. Gafford kind of just hovers around the baseline for a little while Lively's already in a full sprint getting up the floor. And Lucas recognizes this and sees that Jordan Poole is responsible for denying the pass with no other defender on the back line. Denny Avdija was standing straight up on the logo instead of getting back and accounting for Lively. And this is just one of those instances where a defense in the open floor can have a breakdown, and Luka's going to make the right read and throw a very accurate pass when needed to make the most of it. Lively takes full advantage, catches it, and just gets into a dunk. There are times when Derek Lively running the floor hard isn't going to directly create a scoring opportunity for himself, but it does create a clean opportunity for the rest of the offense. In this instance, you can see here, the attention that Luka commands is very significant. There are 3 Wizards defenders that seem to start ball watching and not focus on getting back and getting into a quality position to contain the Mavs offense once Luka gets the ball back from Derek Jones. And Luka takes full advantage. He uses 2 hands to dart the ball quickly to Lively in the paint, and then Lively finds a drifting Tim Hardaway Jr. in the corner, and he has enough space to get into the shot with Jordan Poole contesting and knocks it down. Another way the Mavericks have had some success is by Luka simply making that throw-ahead pass and trusting his teammate to make a play. Here, Tim Hardaway Jr. gets the ball, crosses half court, and then uses a hesitation, push crossover, and gets by Daniel Gafford for a scoop finish at the rim. Luka does a tremendous job of utilizing the attention he commands to be able to create opportunities for his teammates who are running the floor that have a window of opportunity to attack. And in this instance, the Wizards' transition defense is focused on ball watching while also understanding that they have to account for Derek Lively, who had punished them at numerous points of this game with his finishing in the paint. And here, with Grant Williams on the same side of the floor in that corner, the Wizards have to account for him and as well as the ball with Derek Jones catching it. And, this kind of puts Jordan Poole in an awkward position. He loses his balance, having to account for both. and Jones just attacks downhill. The defense isn't able to recover well enough to be able to prevent Jones from kind of just playing through that initial bump, keeping the ball high, and then completing a scoop finish for an and one. Here's a testament to the pace that Luka plays with in the open floor and the control that he also has. He's got 3 defenders looking to get back, Kyrie Irving filling the wing, and then he has Derek Lively, who's eventually going to get to the paint. And despite a reach attempt, Luka controls the ball, draws attention from Jordan Hawkins and Brandon Ingram, and gets the ball to Irving with enough of an opportunity to make the catch and get into the shot before Ingram can contest tightly enough to impact the release. Again, Luka does a great job of holding on to the ball long enough, knowing that he's going to command significant focus of the defense, and then recognizes where the weak point is after doing so. And in this instance, Josh Green forces the turnover, gives it to Luka, and then runs the floor, but doesn't have a defender accounting for him after the play kind of develops. And Jordan Hawkins has to come from clear across the other side of the floor to make this contest, and Green stays poised, gets into the shot, and knocks it down. Luka is very dangerous playing out of the trail in transition. Josh Green initiates this play, gives it to Derek Lively, who then quickly finds Luka on the wing after he's left unaccounted for. And Luka just plays out of a quick rip and go. And this places Denny Avdija in a very precarious situation. He has to factor in that if he steps up and tries to respect and close space for Luka getting into a potential floater, that he's going to probably have to trust the rest of his unit to account for Lively on the roll as a relief option on the lob. And there's not much he can do in this instance after making that choice. The rest of the defense, Daniel Gafford just kind of tagged Lively, but then still respected Josh Green as a spacer. The low man, Corey Kispert, was respecting Tim Hardaway Jr. in the weak side corner. And this is just up to Luka to get to the elbow, frees up Avdija enough to just throw that lob up, and Lively just finishes the rest. Here's another example of Luka doing a tremendous job of playing out of the trail. Josh Green pushes the pace, dribbles through traffic, and finds Luka. No one was in a position to cut off Luka on the drive. With Kyle Kuzma being the nearest defender, Luka understands that he's going to have the advantage deep on the drive. So he utilizes deceleration steps, changes his pace, and as you can see, Kyle Kuzma had already left his feet before Luka even launched off of his plant foot to get into the finish. And Kuzma's on his way down as Luka's on his way up. Naturally, that's probably going to lead to a foul, and that's what makes Luka so dangerous, trying to contain him on these drives. He's getting into a finish, plays through the contact, and converts the three-point play. Luka is all the more impactful as a transition trailer threat when he has a teammate like Kyrie Irving who's making a play, with the ball initially. And on this play, he draws attention to the defense and throws a no-look behind-the-back pass just right in stride to Luka. Jonas Valanciunas doesn't even see that this exchange has happened until Luka has a full head of steam getting downhill. And after making the pass, Kyrie does a savvy job of just trying to make brush contact with Valanciunas to obstruct him. And Luka gets into some effective footwork deep in the paint, turns his body, and gets into a reverse, protecting the ball using the rim, and plays through the contact and finishes it. Another aspect of transition offense that the opposition's going to have to account for with Luka is his increased willingness to take catch-and-shoot threes, even on the trail here with Kyle Kuzma closing space. Luka stayed poised, got into the shot, and knocked it down. When Luka has a lot of momentum going in his favor with his shot, he's feeling good about it. There's going to be situations where when he's pushing the pace, he's going to find a favorable matchup trying to stop the ball instead of having to walk the ball up and giving the opposition a chance to get the right matchup. And in this instance, Jonas Valanciunas is the one that gets stuck on Doncic, and he's able to just get right into a step-back three and just knocks it down. He didn't have to use any sort of screening action to force that switch. It just flowed right into the mismatch. And here against the Raptors, a similar situation happened, not in terms of the mismatch, obviously with OG Anunoby being the one that's stopping the ball, but with Doncic having a lot of, confidence in his shot, he has space to work with. He gets into a hesitation dribble and just flows right into that step back and just knocks it down against the contest. There's a lot of value in Luka also being a decoy, occupying space in transition. Even if he's off the ball, not directly making a play, the defense is going to key in on him. And this gets taken advantage of on this play by Josh Green pushing the ball in the break, finding Grant Williams in the short corner. Daniel Gafford commits to Williams, and nobody is left to account for Derek Lively, who runs the floor hard, makes himself available for this pass, and then just throws down an emphatic dunk. Just some closing thoughts for this video. Luka has shown an apparent ability to leverage the focus and attention he commands from the defense, by holding the ball long enough before making that throw-ahead pass, or by just simply making the early throw-ahead pass and trusting his teammate to make a play. That's had a lot of value for the Mavericks offense and a lot of other players to get into a rhythm. And, it also allows for opportunities for the ball to find Luka again on the transition trail. And, he can take that catch-and-shoot three, or he can attack downhill using his size and paint touch to be able to, maximize his impact without having to get into, walk up the ball, half-court possessions where he's having to basically manufacture a lot of those advantages for the rest of the team. And, all that adds up for a very high usage player who, has to manage workload throughout an 82-game season, and even within the game, staying fresh for the fourth quarter has a lot of value, and these are just ways to be able to do that.